Welcome back to Just an Introvert podcast. I'm Amy.
And I am Abbie, and we are closing up our summer interview series. We have our final guest this week. It's been really fun to do all these interviews, so I will let Amy introduce who we're talking to today.
All right, today we are interviewing my son, Alex. He's my second born. And I won't say too much about him because I'll let him introduce himself when the time comes, but very excited to talk to him.
Yes, Alex, welcome.
Thank
So
you.
we will start with our icebreaker. So are you guys familiar with the concept of like a comfort character or a comfort show? Like just right? Okay. So, what is your fictional discomfort character? So, a character you just dislike, and it can be for a legit reason, like they're the bad guy, or it can just be someone that annoys you for no good reason at all, someone who just drives you crazy.
That is a good
That's a good question.
question. From like a TV series.
TV show, movie, whatever, any fictional character.
Well, what comes to mind, and I didn't watch this a lot, but Riley's watching it now, and it brought back a lot of feelings. So that she's watching The Sopranos, and it's an excellent show. But the way, and I don't know if it's necessarily the main character, but a lot of the men on the show, the way they treated female characters, absolutely just made my skin crawl. And, the show's full of like, murders and you think that stuff would bother me more, but it was the way they treated all the women that just drove me insane. So yeah, I have a hard time like when I see that. So anyway, that's mine. How about you, Alex?
That is a tough
I
question.
was gonna say, I'm putting you on the spot over there.
Yeah.
I can tell you mine if you want another minute to think.
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Okay, this was kind of inspired by my husband and I just started rewatching Schitt's Creek. And Roland, I cannot. And it's not even like he's rough in the beginning and it gets better. It's not a Michael Scott where it's like, eventually I'm like, no, any moment he's there, I'm like, if I could just skip his existence, the show would be even better. But yeah, he's my, the one that I just can't stand.
Can't.
Nope.
He's you haven't acquired that taste at all.
No, then there's no redemption at all. It's just like, nope. Yeah, no.
Okay. Like all the shows that I've watched are just like,
or for you, I'll tailor it a little bit more. Is there an athlete that drives you crazy for?
there definitely definitely is. But I just need a moment to think about it. Probably, I mean, anyone, like any star that's on my rival team, like Patrick Mahomes for the Chiefs, like Shohei Ohtani for the Dodgers. Even though I like Shohei, but I'm still salty that he chose the Dodgers over the Giants. Like, even like LeBron on the Lakers. I like LeBron, but I don't like the Lakers. Basically, any star player that's on another team, even if they have a great personality, like I just hate the fact that you're doing good for a team that I hate and don't like.
Yep.
Probably Patrick Mahomes is the worst just because the Chiefs have had the most success, unfortunately. But yeah, I really, really don't like him. Yeah, I feel passionately about sports.
I don't know much about sports, but he kind of bugs me too. So same, but okay. So I got you, Alex.
Good.
That was a good one, man. Now I'm probably going to think of 100 other characters that bug me.
Yes. Now when you're watching TV, you're going to be like, who do I dislike? Yeah.
Okay, you ready for the icebreaker?
Let's do it.
All right, this is in a grocery store setting. You know how grocery stores. So would you rather, when you go shopping, because Alex has been doing a lot of meal prep, so he's been going and getting a lot of stuff. Would you rather push a tiny cart like the one Abbie's daughter has, a little Target cart to get all your stuff, or have no cart and try to carry everything in your arms? And I'm not talking about a trip where you just get one or two things, like your whole haul.
Okay. So I see it like this. Eventually, if you're getting a whole haul of things, eventually the tiny cart is going to become more of a burden than it will be helpful. It'll just be an additional thing to carry along with everything else. So for that reason, I probably have to go with just carrying everything by hand. I've done it before where I'm gonna go and get a couple things and I don't get a cart and it turns into more than a couple things. And honestly, it's a fun little challenge sometimes.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough.
Yep. I would totally do little cart because I feel like that's already my life because the kids want to sit in the cart, which is like, okay, cool. It's better than corralling them. But then sometimes I'm like, Jane, get your feet off of the bananas. You're sitting on the eggs. Like it's this like living, moving Tetris where I'm like, okay, crunch in the corner, knees to chest, get out of the way. So I think I could Tetris the mini cart a little
Mini
better
cart.
than because I would drop everything and then and then I'd have to leave my groceries. I would just have to leave. I couldn't stay. I'd be like, I'm out. I can't do this.
Go. Yeah, I was trying to think. I would probably try to carry it all because having a little cart and then having it overflow, that would just be two things just to be, I don't know. It would all be awful. Yeah,
It'll
I'd probably
double up
drop
on you.
everything
Yeah.
and leave too.
I don't need to eat. I'm fine.
Yeah.
Goodness.
All right. So let's get going on some questions here, Alex. So our classic first question, are you an introvert or an extrovert?
And I saw the list, so I was thinking about this, and it's kind of tough for me to answer this for myself because I enjoy having time alone to myself, which is obviously an introvert thing. However, probably when I'm the happiest is when I'm around the people I'm really close with and really have a good time with, like Polly, my girlfriend, or Andrew and Chris, my two best friends. Like, I have the best time when I'm around them. When I'm alone, it's good and relaxing, but I don't like have as good of a time necessarily. But that really only applies to the people who I'm like really close with. Once I'm like not that close with people, I don't necessarily enjoy being around them a lot. So for that reason, I'd probably say I lean more introvert, even though it could probably go either way. But I really love being around the people I'm close with. But in like big group settings, I'm not a huge fan of that. So probably introvert for that reason.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's good. So when did you learn about introverts and extroverts and what do you know about them?
Well, I mean, I've learned a lot through you guys, of course, and through you specifically because you've been talking about it a lot and a lot of memes on Instagram and stuff about it. But I knew what the concepts were before that, probably in like school or something. I had heard them, and I don't know them too deeply. I don't like study or anything, but I just know the introverts prefer being alone and they get their relaxation time while they're alone, whereas extroverts, they being out and being with people is what charges their battery and keeps them going, and that's what they enjoy the most. So that's probably the basis of my knowledge for the most part.
That's good. And before Abby gets to her question, tell us a little bit about yourself because this next question is going to kind of delve into some things that maybe the audience isn't familiar with.
Yes. Well, the social aspect of my life has pretty much always been impacted, and that's because when I was 2 years old, I was diagnosed with autism, and that's not really something that ever goes away. I'm really grateful for the therapy that has really, really helped manage it to a low degree in my life, but it still definitely affects everything in the social realm of things. So, and of course, introvert extrovert is all about social interactions. So that my autism kind of plays a pretty big role in my social day-to-day life. So that is a little about me that affects my answers and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So given that, I know I have talked about like for me growing up, not being able to pull apart like anxiety and introversion and those kind of interweaving with each other and now kind of picking those apart. So what were the overlaps that you think like growing up with autism and the introversion? Like where do you think that overlaps? What are some like differences? Talk a little bit about that.
For the overlapping, I kind of don't think they really overlap all that much because introversion is more of like a desire to be alone, not be around people. And that's not how the autism affects my social interactions. More so, what it does is when I'm in interactions, certain things happen. Like anyone who's talked to me for a considerable amount of time has noticed it's like really hard for me to maintain eye contact. That's just something I'm not good at all. And I attribute that. I think that's definitely a feature of the autism. I think so. And And like just affects how my brain thinks about social interactions. And in my mind, that is different than actually like the desire to have them or not, or whether social interactions are good for you or not, whether that helps you recharge or not. So they kind of intertwine a little bit. Like you think autism leans more towards introversion or whatever, but I think they're more so separate issues than together.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah.
Do you think having therapy affected your personality? And if so, what ways?
Well, it definitely did. Without therapy, I would not be anywhere near the person I am today. I mean, therapy definitely was where my entire social basis when I was younger came from. So I mean, my social interactions have developed from when I was younger, my therapists were their job was to try and get me to be able to branch out and to be able to talk and have these interactions that I wasn't able to do, like as a young child, like to the level that a young child should be able to. That is. So, I mean, in that sense, therapy has had a huge, huge effect on my social interactions because I probably wouldn't have very many social interactions if it wasn't for the social therapy I received.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I know we're all kind of familiar, but either of you can answer, like kind of give a general synopsis of what the therapy was like when Alex was young, kind of the structure of that.
So I'll start because when you were two, the most he could get therapy for was 3 hours a day. So they would come in for 3 hours and do some very basic activities. He wasn't talking. They did this. It's called a picture exchange system. It's called PEX, and I can't remember the whole acronym meaning, but it was little squares on Velcro, and it started with him like recognizing the squares, pointing to the squares, and they said this is going to really get him to start talking. And I was kind of going, okay, like I didn't really believe it, but a week later he's starting to point, he's starting to connect words, and I was like, okay, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So anyways, when he turned 3, it went up to 8 hours a day, and it could either go to a place and have the service or have people come into the home. I chose the home because I was staying home, just subbing part-time. And I didn't want to send my 3-year-old away for 8 hours. That just was
That's a
very
lot.
8 hours a day. I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
No, I mean, obviously, I don't remember anything about the 3 hour a day. I was too young to recall that, but I mean, many of my earliest memories are of people or me going to best of facilities, which happened when I was more like 4 or 5. And so, yeah, just I don't have great memory, but a lot of my earliest memories are based around the therapy because it was such an integral part of my early life.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally when you talked about I'm like, I can totally I like can visualize your old house, your coffee table. I totally remember seeing all
Right?
that there. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
interesting.
And that kind of leads into the next question. So part of the therapy was pairing you up with extroverted, aka your sister and my brother and sister. um, they called it what, peer play? That was
Yeah,
the title
peer
for it.
play.
Yep. Do you think that this has kind of like affected the people that you're drawn to now and the people that you surround yourself with?
Honestly, not a ton to I don't think that shaped me that much. It probably more so when I was younger, it helped me to like branch out, but maybe as effects that I just like don't realize. But I mean, my two best friends, Chris and Andrew, that I know my whole life are like huge introverts, and so I wouldn't really say I'm drawn towards extroverted people. In fact, I feel like I'm maybe drawn more even towards introverted people just in general. So I wouldn't say it had a huge effect on me, but I have some fun memories of Ben specifically and Best and stuff.
Basically, they were employees of this
They were.
autism center. They were like, okay, these kids love to just go do crazy stuff. All right, let's bring them in.
They will. I know. I have a story about Ben, my nephew. Shout out to our faithful listener, Ben.
Yes.
So he would often be paired with Alex because he was very extroverted, and it would set an example for Alex on what typical kids do. And so we were at your house, Abbie, one time, and both Ben and Alex were outside, and we walk out, and Ben is showing Alex how to throw rocks against the neighbor's house. And everybody's going, no, Ben. But secretly in my head, I was like, yay, Alex is doing a typical thing. Because
I think he was throwing them, like just chucking them over the fence, and Alex is like, all right, we're just throwing
he was
rocks over
like
the
doing it
fence.
with him. And,
It's
you know, in
great.
the past, Alex just wasn't interested in what typical kids would do. And so to me, that was a win, but I couldn't really be like, yeah, keep throwing those rocks.
No, I totally remember like walking in, I'm like walking past my mom, like telling Ben, you can't do that. And then you're just like, yay, Alex, in the other room. It was hilarious. Oh my gosh, that's so good.
Well, anything else, Alex, you can think of that with personality, introversion, all that kind of stuff?
Not really. I mean, it's definitely affected my life in a lot of ways, but I think a lot of those ways are not are even though it's like a social disorder, I would say a lot of those ways are not more so social, but more in like the way I think, which is not really totally related to interactions. So it's definitely affected my life in a lot of ways, but I think we covered like a lot of the bases of what it does to like my personality and interactions and that kind of thing.
Yeah. And I just want to give a shout out to the center who serviced him best.
They're the best.
Literally, they're the best. And I remember his
Yeah.
kindergarten teacher telling me that she's had a lot of those places come in and shadow different students, and she said by far this company was the top notch. Like, and so that just made me feel so grateful that he got placed where he got placed and the people in his life. And so, yeah. And I just really think it really shaped who you are today, and you're able to do things, take charge. And yeah, I don't know. It was a totally positive experience.
Yeah.
At the time, it was very hard.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, 8 hours a day, people in your house, and you just can't see the light at the end of the tunnel.
As an introvert yourself, that's got to just be like you were literally on, even though you weren't working outside the home, you were having just that constant social interaction. That's a lot.
Well, and just having people in your house. And I know
Yes.
there are some people who openly welcome people into their house. And that's great. And I'm just not one of those people, but I had to be forced to do that. And after a while you get used to it. But yeah, it is a lot. It's a stressor. Even though it just turned out to be a wonderful thing and positive for him, it was a lot.
Yeah.
But
And I feel
looking
like
back, it was the best thing we could have done for him.
Yeah. A lot of unknowns and like, what is this going to look like? And but yeah, Alex, you're super awesome. And you are truly the life of the party. All our kids just love Alex. Like he gets right in and tackles them and they love it. So
Yes. They're a big fan of Alex. And
I'm a big fan of them.
He's super tall. He's 6'4", and he could even be taller than that now. He's might be 6'5". He's passed up Niles, so he is definitely he's head to head with John, your brother.
I was gonna say, yeah, you're right. I didn't realize you were as tall. I knew you were tall, but yeah,
crazy.
Wow.
So
love it. All right, we're ready for our awkward moments.
Yes.
What do we have?
So, do you have any awkward moments you can think of, or you need a minute to think?
Yeah, let me think about it for a minute.
And these don't have to be recent. These could be literally any time in your life.
So this awkward moment happens all the time with me. So this is fun. So when I take Kuro for a walk and we go to the park, a lot of people park on the side street so they can get out and go play in the playgrounds. And a lot of people are sitting in their car, getting ready to get out, or just sitting there, doing whatever. Kuro has to go to the grass patch right next to a car with someone in it. And I'm trying to pull him away because I'm like, this is so awkward. I'm standing there right next to a person in the car while my dog's just sniffing the grass or whatever. And I'm like, come on. Every time I'm like, why can't you go next to nobody in it?
Right. Of course, he's got to pick the.
So yeah, I feel like every weekend, this is just my life. I look like a mean dog owner because I'm yanking him away.
Dragging your dog around.
It's so awkward.
Oh my gosh. So I had a near miss on an awkward moment. So yeah, if you follow me on TikTok, you know this. Shameless plug for my TikTok. Yesterday I had the day off of work, so I just like kind of had a day to myself, which involved going to go get my nails done. And I go to like, not like a salon, but just an individual gal that does, nails out of a little business area. And so that was like my first thing of the day. It was at like 9 o'clock. So I'd gotten my coffee and I got there kind of early. So I was just sitting in my car, and I don't know what like triggered my brain, because it's like multiple businesses in this little park. And like, I don't know what her car looks like, but I'm like, there's not that many cars here. That's kind of odd. There's usually more, but I'm like, it's early in the morning. Okay. And then I was like, I'm just going to be overly paranoid and triple check and go on the website and make sure my appointment's at 9. And thank goodness I checked, because I did not make the appointment. I put it in my calendar, like I'm going to go get my nails done at 9 o'clock, but made zero appointment.
So you made an
and
appointment with yourself.
I
No.
did. I totally did. And she keeps the doors locked. So usually I just text her when I'm there. So I'm so freaking glad I didn't walk up and like, hey girl, I'm here. And be like, what? Or I thought about, and this is just an awkward in general. Whenever I get coffee, I'm like, oh, I should text her and be like, hey, I'm getting Starbucks. Do you want anything? Which is just like a very normal, chill thing. But I always overthink it. I'm like, no, Abbie, that's weird. Wait till you've seen her a few more times. It's too soon. That's too awkward. So I'm like, A, I'm glad I didn't text her. Like, hey, what do you want from Starbucks? Or B, I didn't walk in. So that could have been a real awkward moment. But thankfully, my over double checking everything came in handy, and it actually served its purpose. So
saved you a little bit of
saved me.
embarrassment.
All right, well, you telling the Kuro story where you kind of made me think of just something about myself. Well, because when I walk Kuro, I have my double AirPods in, listening to music or whatever. And obviously with my AirPods in, if anyone tries to tell anything to me, I can't hear them or anything, so they got to get my attention another way. And it's not a specific instance. You just ask anyone who I talk to a lot, especially Holly. I have not hearing, I just have a hard time listening to people. So basically, my most awkward moments in my day-to-day life are when someone says something to me, and whether it's because my AirPods are in or it's just not my day, I have to ask them to repeat it 3, 4, maybe 5 times to hear. And I'm just like, gosh. And I just have this moment of like, by the 3rd or 4th time, I just have this moment of silence before I'm like, I need it again. Give it to me, because I'm like, this is so bad. They should not have to say that this many times. But yeah, that's probably the one I could think of the most.
When you were telling that story, it made me think of Nate in The Office when he's like, I don't technically have a hearing problem.
Yep, that's
yeah.
pretty good. That's pretty good.
That's hilarious.
He has his AirPods in a lot, and I'm guilty of it too. Like, but he has his in a lot, and so we'll shout out to him, and a lot of times we'll shout out, and I'm like, "Good talk." No.
Well, hey, I feel like that goes to the quality of your AirPods, because in college I had like noise canceling earbuds, and I would like be studying or whatever. I'm sitting at my desk. My roommate had a video of me and she posted it on Instagram. She's like, hey, Abbie, can you, and then say like, it's a long time and I'm just like, my back's to her and I'm just like working, like no realization that she's talking to me. So you're not alone, Alex.
And the AirPods at least give me an excuse though. There's sometimes where I'm looking at the person, ears, nothing in the ears, and I'm just like, sorry, I didn't catch that. Not that I don't acknowledge them at all. I'm just like, I do not understand what you just said. One time is fine, but once the numbers start going up, it becomes exponentially worse.
Okay, I don't know why this reminded me of a story when he was in therapy. So they were teaching him one time to, when you're looking at someone, when they're talking, if you're not interested, letting them know like you're not interested in something. And so they worked on it, and then it was his break time. And the therapist, I think, came back in just to ask him a question. And he looked up at her and he's like, I'm not interested in this conversation. I'm like, well, it worked.
Yeah, I was going to say that backfired on them real fast. Oh, that's so good. Oh, gosh. Alrighty. What do we got for our recommendations here? What do we think?
Man, I had a hard time this week because like I'm so busy in my life right now. Like I can hardly finish a book. I can hardly finish a show.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what am I going to recommend? But then I thought, okay, I'm going to recommend Emerald Tattoo. I know I recommended them before for tattoos, but now I'm going to recommend them for piercings, because I just recently got an eyebrow piercing. And the piercer there is he's so good. And I
Yeah.
mean, like, he calms me. I come in, he just talks. I think that's part of the reason why I'm not scared to
Yeah.
get pierced, because people will ask, oh, did it hurt? And I'm thinking, well, yeah, but the whole experience was just such a good one and calming. And so I recommend Daniel.
Yeah.
In
No, he's
general, he
great.
just really, like, does not make you feel anxious and
No, or I feel like all of them there, like they don't make you
oh,
feel stupid, like you don't know what you're doing. Because I went
yes.
in, I wanted to get, I have this one, the Daith inside my ear.
Uh-huh.
I was gonna get one on the other side as well, and he was like, okay, so if you're like he went into it very open and was like, if you want me to do it, I'll do it, but just so you know, if you don't sleep on your back, you're going to be sleeping on one of them, and one of them's not going to heal well. I was like, oh, perfect. I was like, okay, I will definitely take your recommendation, thank you, instead of just like whatever you want. It was like, but I didn't feel like, oh, now I'm embarrassed and awkward. But yeah, he was,
Yeah.
nobody knows what he's doing, and super easy to just like go in and like, hey, this is what I want, and he'll direct you and help. And yeah,
Yeah.
so agree on that.
Yeah. Hey, I got my cartilage, what do you call, is there a specific
Is it Helix? Is that the name for it? I always just call it cartilage, but it's the,
Helix, I think.
yeah,
I got it both sides, copied you because you were an
because I'm so
influencer.
cool.
But I sleep like solely on my left side, and I know he told me the same thing, but I just can't help sleeping on my left side. It still seems okay, but I'm like, I don't know if I messed it up, but oh well.
Yeah, no, I definitely sleep on both sides, and I would just try to fall asleep on the side that it wasn't. If I, rolled over in the middle of the night, I'd just switch back. But yeah,
But you can't really like,
but
Yeah.
it survived.
well, yeah.
All was well.
How about you, Alex?
My recommendation?
Yep.
All right. Well, I was thinking, and this is difficult, but we were talking right before, and it actually gave me a good idea. Well, I recommend, and this is especially true if you're trying to eat healthy, but just generally too, is meal prepping. Meal
Mm.
prepping is an amazing thing. And well, I started doing it when I started going to this new gym that I go to called Get Fit, just to try and like, and it just makes your week so much easier. You already have your food right there. It's made for you, and you can just eat it. You can plan so you can get your right macros and nutrients and stuff in, as opposed to if you try to eat on the fly, it's kind of really hard to eat healthy. So, and we were just talking about that literally right before the podcast. And so that's what I thought would
Yeah.
be a good recommendation. And also the movie Whiplash is really good for anyone who doesn't know or hasn't seen it.
I have not seen that one yet. I don't know if that
Oh,
one's on my list or not, but
really
put it
good.
I
on
will
your
add it
list.
to my list.
It-
I love
It's
getting all these movie
intense, but
recommendations.
it's good.
That's the one with
What's
J.K.
his name?
Simmons and
Yes.
Miles Teller, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Very
definitely
cool.
put that in your queue.
Yes, I was gonna say that was gonna be my nice little segue, my recommendation for my TikTok, if you want to check that out. The last movie I watched from my Q app was The Holdovers. It
Uh-huh.
was one of the Oscar Best Picture nominees. I put all of those on my list because I wanted to see it from this last year. And
Uh-huh.
it was, oh my gosh, I knew nothing about it, which is like my new favorite way to watch movies, but basically it's about this guy that works at like a college, essentially, like in the 80s. A handful of students have to stay over one of the breaks, and he has to be like the adult on campus. And so they end up, having all these crazy things happen, but it's kind of like a Breakfast Club meets, I haven't seen Dead Poet Society, but I've heard comparisons to that. Like it kind of has some overlap of those kind of movies. They
Ooh.
did a really good job of, I think it's set in the 80s. Like it feels like an old movie. Like it's not like, okay, this feels like someone who filmed a movie now, but it feels like it was made in that time. They did a really good job. So I would highly, highly recommend that one, especially for a teacher. I feel like teachers would appreciate a lot of the
Yeah.
Okay.
content
Check
in
that
it.
out.
But
Yeah, I haven't,
yeah.
I've heard of it, but I haven't.
Yeah, and again, it was just kind of like on the list, and I was like, well, I might as well. But I was very, very impressed. I loved that movie.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm gonna have
That's
to
great.
check out the queue. I see you on TikTok doing that.
Yes.
I'm like, that's such a good idea. Although
It
I probably have
helps.
no time right now to do. I can't even watch half a show before I fall
But
asleep.
what's nice is when you're busy, it's not like you forget all of those.
That's true.
You have it's always there, and you can
That's true.
like
And
when
it'll
you're
keep
ready
you
to
in
watch something. Mm-hmm.
place saver. That's true.
Because otherwise, I would forget everything. Like I would literally, next time I go to watch a movie, there was a movie that someone told me about. I can't remember.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
I've done that
absolutely.
plenty of times.
Yes.
Yeah. Anything else we can think of? I think we covered it all.
Final
One thing I
thoughts?
did
No.
want to say, when he was talking about meal prepping and
Mm.
we also were talking a little too that I think we are both very similar in our personalities
Yeah.
in the sense that we like routine, we like planning ahead,
Mhm.
and then Niles and Riley are just very similar in their personalities. They're very on the go,
Yeah.
and so it's just kind of funny how I'm sure some of my introvert traits, and I'm not saying that's necessarily an introvert trait, but
Mhm.
I think a lot of he got some personality
Yeah.
traits from me for sure.
Without
It's
a
always fun to see genetics at play with your kids and just
Yes.
like, yep, that was from me or that was from your dad or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, I know. Anytime, either of us gets frustrated at something, I'm like, well, that's how I can relate to that,
Yeah. Yep.
It goes both ways for both kids and
Exactly. Yep.
fine. But yeah,
We both care about fashion the most.
we do.
Very
And I would agree from a
clothes,
young
that
age.
thing.
That's my one Alex story that I remember like very, very vividly was I was watching you. I must have been watching Riley too, but I only remember putting you to bed and the shoes you were wearing that day, like you're like, I'm wearing these shoes, I'm wearing them to bed. And I was like, Alex, no, like you can't. I know you love your shoes, but like it's time for bed. And the only way I got you to do it, I was like, okay, let's plan what shoes you want to wear tomorrow. And you're like, yes, okay. So you took your shoes off, but you had to lay out the shoes for the following day.
That
And I was like,
sounds
That
good.
sounds
okay.
just like Alex.
Success.
That's
That
pure.
is
That's right.
hilarious.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, Alex. We
Yeah.
appreciate
Thanks
your
for having me.
hearing a little bit about you and your perspective. It was awesome.
So
Awesome.
fun. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
And you're a good son.
Thanks.
We'll keep you around. Although he's in college and I don't think he'll be around, for much longer, but I'm savoring those moments. So
Yes.
I'm getting all sentimental. So anyway. All right. Thanks, guys, for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Bye.